guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I am clearly not at home in my flat. I am at Author Sister's flat in London. We have quite the weekend planned. So Scottish husband and I came out yesterday after work for the Heels of Hell drag show, which was amazing, absolutely amazing. We had such a good time, but we got out so late. It ended at like midnight that we just couldn't get home to Oxford. So we had already planned to stay here at Julia's place, and we worked from home today. And now it is the evening, so we are going to have some dinner, which Scottish husband and author sister are working on just now, if you can hear them in the other room. But we are also watching some Supernatural, because we've decided to undertake this project of watching all of Supernatural. I have seen, I think, through season 6 and maybe a bit into season 7. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out when I get there. But I abandoned ship on the show at that point. But it is ending this year, so we decided to make a project of it and just watch the whole thing. So we just finished episode 3 of the first season, and we're going to move on to episode 4 once dinner is done prepping. But I have been doing some reading lately. I blasted through a ton of books this week. If you go from exactly 1 week from today, Friday to Friday, I have read almost as many books this week as I did in the month of September. I read 4 books this week, mostly due to audiobooks. So yeah, I think that says a lot. But I am currently reading Deep Light by Frances Hardinge. I'm only about 50 pages or so into this book because I am also, I'm going to lean a little bit, sorry. I am also listening to the audiobook for One of Us is Lying by Catherine M. McManus, which is a YA crime book. I was going to say true crime. It's not a true crime book. It's a fictional book. Because I listened to Truly Devious, if you saw my weekend vlog from last week, and I also listened to The Vanishing Stair this week. And of course, we don't have the third book in that trilogy until January, I think. So I am just completely obsessed with YA crime novels, apparently. So I'm listening to that. It's good. It's going well. I think I prefer Truly Devious because I think it has a more interesting like setting and stuff, and I like the historical aspect of it. But I am really enjoying One of Us is Lying. And then, of course, I've got Deep Light, which is by one of my favorite authors, although I feel like I can't say that because I've only read one of her books. So I loved The Lie Tree. I'm very much looking forward to Deep Light. I need to read a bunch more of her stuff because I have like 4 of her books on my shelf that I've never read. So we'll see how that goes. But tonight I think is going to be dedicated to movies. We're doing like a spooky movie marathon through October. So I think we're going to continue on with that. We'll watch one more episode of Supernatural as well because we're doing them kind of in twos. And then tomorrow, Scottish husband and I are going to GollanczFest, which should be awesome. It's in Foyles, which is an amazing bookshop here in London, and there's going to be a ton of Gollantz authors. Garth Nix is kind of the headlining person. Joe Abercrombie is going to be there. Ed Cox is going to be there. Emma Newman is going to be there, and you know I love Emma Newman. They're like shifting around furniture in the other room. Don't worry about it. But it should be really good. So I'm going to take a break and stop talking because I don't think I've taken a breath the entire time I have been filming this, but it's going to be a really, really good weekend, I think. So I will check in with you guys later. I have been a very bad vlogger this weekend in that I haven't really vlogged anything. I didn't vlog really anything from GollanczFest because we were busy listening to panels and stuff and running around bookshops of varying shapes and sizes. So we're sitting in the middle of Paddington Station right now. I'm with Scottish husband. He says hello. But it was a really good day. We spent a lot of time with Judith from Dead Good Book Reviews, who is one of my sort of real life pals that I met through book blogging, and Amber from Books of Amber, who is another one of my real life pals that I met through BookTube. So it was a really, really good day. We had a really good time. It was a long day. It was 6 panels, which is quite a lot, and the chairs weren't necessarily the most comfortable because they're just like standard adventures. So our butts went numb, so we got up and kind of wandered around. I missed one of the panels, but it was overall a really, really good day. Emma Newman was there and Joe Abercrombie was there, which was very exciting because they're 2 of my favorite authors. But now we're just kind of hanging out, waiting for our train. I haven't really read anything this weekend. It's another one of those unsuccessful off the grid readathons for me, I think, but I'm gonna read a lot on the train. I've been listening to my audiobook of One of Us is Lying, and I bought a ton of stuff, which I'll show you when I get home, because that's just too much stuff to pull out at once. But it was a great day. I had a really good time, but I'm also really excited to go home and see the kitties. So it's like 10:30, 11 on Saturday night. We literally just got home. I'm so tired, but I wanted to show you guys the books that I got at GollanczFest, and I had some packages as well. So I went to Forbidden Planet. If you're not, this is all a mess, I'm so tired. If you're not familiar with kind of like Foyles and Forbidden Planet and that kind of area of London and all that, there is Waterstones Piccadilly, which is like the big Waterstones shop, which is huge and is an amazing happy place. If you've never had the chance to go, you totally should if you get it. And near there is Foyles, which was an independent bookstore, and that's where I get, as I've said previously in other vlogs and stuff, that's where I get a lot of my American YA editions, because since they are or were independent, Waterstones has now bought them but has kind of left them to do their thing. They buy separately. So you kind of find the same thing in Waterstones in every Waterstones, but Foyles does different stuff, which is really nice. So nearby Foyles, like a 5-minute walk away, is Forbidden Planet, which is of course the kind of nerdy fandom store. And in the Forbidden Planet in London, there is an underground section. It's huge and it's all books. And they have like a US section, they have a UK section, they have just tons and tons of amazing books. So I went to Forbidden Planet first. Well, we were kind of, because the event was really good, GollanczFest was really good, but we did have some trouble kind of sitting in those chairs for so long because they weren't the most comfortable. They're just like the fold-out chairs, and our butts hurt and my back was hurting. So we went out, we skipped out on the last panel before kind of the break and before lunchtime. And we went out to Forbidden Planet and ran around there a little bit. So I got a couple of books there, and this is where I kind of ruined my whole book buying, not ban, but I'm trying to cut down on the number of books that I buy, because you guys see these massive hauls every single month, and I'm trying to, first of all, just save a little bit more money, but also read some of this stuff down. So I've not been buying a lot of books lately. I think I bought 4 books last month, and I bought a lot today. So the first one that I got from Forbidden Planet is Song for a New Day by Sarah Pinsker. This is one where, on the podcast that I do with my sister, which I can link down below, we had Emma Newman on, which I was so excited about because she's one of my favorite authors. I've gushed so much about her books, and she has such amazing like mental health representation and all of that. Her books actually are one of the reasons that I ended up seeking treatment for anxiety and depression. So she's a very important author to me. She was reading this when we did that podcast interview with her, and she recommended it so much. It's like a kind of it's a near future type setting, and I believe it's all centered kind of around music and people gathering for concerts and whatnot, but in this particular sort of future, people have been banned from gathering in large kind of crowds and places, I believe to stop viruses and terrorist attacks and things like that. So things like concerts, big social gatherings are no longer allowed, so I believe people now meet through virtual reality for these concerts. This sounds really good, and it sounds like such a really interesting and unique take on the kind of like bleak, not post-apocalyptic, kind of like the bleak near future sci-fi. So this sounds really great. I know someone has read this, a blogger has read this. Who was it? I can't remember. If it's you, let me know. But I know that someone read this that I really like, and she, I think, really enjoyed this as well. So I'm looking forward to that so much. That's going to be really good. I also picked up a copy of War Girls by Tochi Onyebuchi. He wrote a book called Beasts Made of Night, which I bought at Yalk 2017 and still haven't read. It's on my list, it's on the TBR, but this is his new book, and this is one I'm really excited about. This is YA sci-fi, and I believe there's a lot in here but I believe it's climate change, nuclear disaster, kind of the world has changed so much, so life on Earth is unlivable. So some people have escaped to newly formed space colonies, but a lot of people have to kind of stay behind to deal with the aftermath. So it takes place, I believe, in Nigeria, and our main characters are orphaned in the war, and 4 years later, war is still ongoing, but they've become soldiers. I believe there's lots of like robotics and AI and whatnot in this book. It sounds really good, and I've heard really good things about it so far. So this is one that's been on my radar, and I had picked up A Song for a New Day initially, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy any books. I'm not gonna do it. And then I saw this and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this. So this is kind of the book that led to me buying all these books today. That's gonna be a really good one. I thought it came out in January. Maybe that's in the UK, I'm not sure, but I feel like I've got my hands on it early somehow. And the last book that I picked up at Forbidden Planet is a bind-up of the 3 Binti novellas. This is by Nnedi Okorafor. She is a, I believe, Nigerian-American author, and I read the first one. I actually have a paperback copy of the first novella, and I read it ages ago, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I really enjoyed it, but I never kept up with the series. So I saw this edition and I totally fell in love with it. She is an incredible sci-fi author, and I just love her world building. I love the gorgeous detail that goes into it. They're just absolutely stunning books. So I, again, have only read the first one. I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of them. I actually started the first one on the train, and I'm on page 18 of this book so far, so keep an eye out for this coming up in maybe the next couple of wrap-ups, because I'm counting them individually. So there's actually 4 stories in here. I'm going to count them as 3 because I think the 4th one is like exclusive to this. So since the others have been published previously, I'll count them individually, and I don't tend to read series kind of back-to-back books and series, so I'm going to stretch this one out a little bit, but I'm really, really excited to finally catch up on this because I just really love her writing. At GollanczFest itself, I did get a couple of books signed, and I bought a couple of books. So first of all, the only book that I brought with me to get signed, because we had such a big weekend and I had so much stuff with me because I had to like pack clothes and things, I only brought one book, and that was A Little Hatred to Get Signed by Joe Abercrombie, who I can confirm is a lovely man. He was so nice, which is really good to find out about one of your favorite authors. It's always such a huge disappointment to find out that one of your favorite authors kind of sucks. So this was really, really good. It was just so good to meet him, and he was so nice. I told him about the fact that The Blade itself was the 2nd book that I ever recommended to author husband. I keep doing that. Scottish husband, and we are both huge fans of his, and obviously I love this book. I reviewed it on the channel if you've not seen that, so I was really happy to meet him. And then I also bought a couple of others. So the other book that I actually got signed is We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle. He is a debut author. This book came out I think a couple months ago, he said, and he was on a panel actually with Joe Abercrombie and a couple of other authors, and they were going through and like introducing themselves and saying just very briefly what their books are about, and he said this book is basically what would happen if the bad guys won, and I like shot up and was like, yes, that sounds amazing. So I went ahead and picked this up. I have a couple of friends who have read this, and I've been hearing amazing things about it, and it just looks so good, and he's another really, really nice author, so that was really cool to meet him. I'm really looking forward to that. And I also bought a copy of The Thing Itself by Adam Roberts. This looks super meta and really like cool. So basically, from what I can gather on the back, is it's about people on a base, a research base, that have seen the John Carpenter film The Thing, which is one of my favorite movies. I'll talk about that in a second. And basically, the thing is real, but it's also a John Carpenter movie, but it's also a real thing that happens to them. It sounds super meta, it sounds super cool. I've had my eye on this for absolute ages. The Thing is one of my favorite movies. We are doing, as I think I mentioned in a previous entry to this, we are doing this big like spooky movie marathon type thing. Scottish husband and my sister and I were syncing up a movie, and then we watch it together and like message each other. So we've done a lot of really good stuff, and we've done this with like non-spooky movies as well. But last night, because we were all at Julia's place, we watched An American Werewolf in London, which is hilarious and great. And we also watched The Thing, and I had seen it before, but they had not, and I'm so happy they liked it because it's just such a great, brilliant movie. Not good if you're a dog lover, just to get that out of the way now. It has some jump scares, but it's also really psychological. It's all about kind of the breakdown of the trust between these people, because the thing, the alien, is something that can imitate perfectly, and there's some incredible shots of it like transforming into another person. It's so good. I love that movie so much. So I'm really, really excited about this one. I think that's gonna be super fun, and I'd like to read it for the spooky season. And the final book that I picked up is Song of the Sycamore by Edward Cox. I've had my eye on this for a really, really long time. It's one of those ones that I don't know a huge amount about. I know it's gonna be really kind of high fantasy with like lots of magic and lots of kind of fantasy elements, and it looks really good. I really like Ed Cox as a person. He seems like a lovely man, and we all know that is one of the main reasons that I buy books. So this one, he actually, because he had to dash after his panel, he had pre-signed a bunch of them. So I'm really glad that I have that. I've had my eye on that book for a long time. And separately, I've been moaning about the fact that I've not gotten any book post in a while. I just like to moan a little bit. So when we came home, and I had 4 packages, I was very excited. Technically 5, because I've got this one here too. So one of these is a book that I bought for myself, which I'll show you, and the others, I've been requesting some stuff. So I don't know what these are going to end up being. I have an idea for one of them, but I don't want to say, just in case it's not the thing that I'm hoping it is, because it's one of my most highly anticipated books. So first things first, this tiny little Redbubble envelope. My friend Judith from Dead Good Book Reviews started a Redbubble store, and she is so like incredibly creative and lovely, and has made these little designs that I really love because they're a little bit minimalist, but they're so good. So this first one, these are both stickers. This one says well read and dangerous, and then girls with swords. And she annoyingly has added a bunch more designs to her Redbubble shop after I ordered these, so I couldn't order a bunch of them in bulk. So I love these. I'm gonna stick them on my laptop, I think. And I will link her Redbubble store down below because they're so cute. But first things first, this is the one that I ordered for myself. I have a little project that I have taken on that I've mentioned before, where I am buying all of the hardcover Harry Potter, British Harry Potter editions, because I have all the American ones, because I'm American, but I love these covers so much. So this is the last one that I needed. I've been picking them up in charity shops here and there when I see them, but I didn't have Goblet of Fire, and I was getting really annoyed at the fact that I didn't have Goblet of Fire, so I bought this from Abe Books for like £2. So I love this cover. This is probably my favorite of the British Harry Potter covers. This and probably Goblet of Fire, I think. They're just so incredibly stunning. So I'm really happy I have this. I now have completed my collection, and that means that I can fully move on to my Wheel of Time hardcover collection. So that is very exciting. So this one is from Little Brown, which is an imprint of Hachette, which also has a million other imprints that go with it. What's this? Ooh! Oh, how intriguing. Okay, so this is an unsolicited book, but I've seen this around, and this is an author that I have really wanted to read for a long, long time. So this is Claire North's The Pursuit of William Abbey. I don't know anything about this one. Let's see. It's an atmospheric, unnerving, and exhilarating, heartbreaking, horrific novel. So all of these things are total buzzwords for me. It looks like it follows some of the atrocities of colonialism, and it's about human dignity, the idea that keeping secrets is a fundamental human right, and it's kind of obviously told in the era of it's being put out in the era of fake news as we are today. So Claire North is a really popular author. She is a really well-established fantasy and I think science fiction author as well. So this comes out on the 14th of November from Orbit Books. So I'm gonna have a little look at this later, but this looks excellent and it's beautiful as well, which always helps. So thank you for sending me this. Oh, this looks so good. I've been wanting to read her stuff for a really, really long time, so this is awesome. Now, another thing from Hachette, I don't know what this is. Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is, I don't know how I got on their children's list, but apparently I'm on a children's list. I don't read children's books, so I'm not going to read this one. I'll give it to someone in the office who has kids. But this is Ben Brooks's The Impossible Boy. So this looks very sweet. It comes out on the 31st of October from Quercus Children's Books. And it looks like it follows two kids who meet a new boy in their class, and he, I think, is quite remarkable. So this looks very sweet. This looks really cute, and I love, like, a good cover, and I love good end papers. So if you're someone who enjoys children's books more than me, you should definitely check this one out. Okay, and then I have another one. I don't know from who. It doesn't actually say. Yes, this is the one that I wanted. Oh, I'm so excited. Sorry, honey. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so happy about this. Oh my god. Okay, so this is Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri, who of course wrote Empire of Sand, which is a book, I think I gave it 4 stars initially because it is definitely a slow burn book and it wasn't necessarily what I was expecting. I did really enjoy it, and it's one of those books that the more I think about it, the further I get from reading Empire of Sand, the more just incredible I realize it was. It's a beautiful, really beautiful book. So this is, no, it's not a sequel, it's a companion novel because it follows Mare, who's our main character in the first book's sister, and her sister is quite young. I think she's like 6 or so at the beginning of Empire of Sand, and this is her story. So Arwa is her sister's name. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Oh. I'm like gonna knock everything else off of my TBR for this month and read this because I just adore her book. She's such a beautiful writer. The magic in these books is probably the most incredible that I've ever seen. It's linked to like dance and ritual. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So this comes out on the 14th of November from Orbit Books, and I'm like, I'm really, really excited about this. Well, I went from hauling 0 books this month to hauling a lot of books this month. So today was a good day for books. I'm gonna go and get in bed with one of these books. Probably Binti. I'll finish the first Binti novella, which is called Binti, and I think it's 56 pages long, so I'll be able to kind of like stop there and then continue on with something else, because as I say, I don't like to read series kind of one after the other because my brain doesn't like that. So it was a really good day. Huge shout out to the people at Gollantz who made this insane event work and have made this insane event work for a long time. I think it's been quite long running. So yeah, I had a really good day. I'm freaking exhausted and the cats are like hovering around me because they've been alone for a few days. So I'm gonna go pet the cats, get in bed, and just pass out. Yeah, we're having some very serious cozy time. I should be reading Deep Light, which is right next to me. But my head is aching, so I'm waiting for my paracetamol to kick in before I start reading again. And so I'm just gonna let Sophia exfoliate my hand for a while.
So it's like 6 o'clock at night on Sunday, and I haven't gotten out of bed yet because I'm so tired and I'm not feeling well. And yeah, it's really comfy and warm in here. So I'm just gonna stay in bed all day, as I clearly already have. But I have actually finished a book. I finished One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, which I really enjoyed. It was a little bit more kind of like high school drama than something like Truly Devious was, but I still ended up enjoying it. I don't know what I can rate yet because I literally just finished it, but yes, so that's my audiobook read. I'm still working on Deep Light, but it's a little bit too kind of like serious for me right now, so I'm going to try to figure out something else to read or a little bit in the meantime. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to sleep now. I'll wrap up this vlog later when I'm like vertical.
Right, so I'm finally out of bed. It's like 8 o'clock at night, but I figured I should probably get up and move around a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit better. I think it's a combination of this like cold that's been lurking for the past couple of weeks and just having a really busy couple of days. So I'm sitting here with my good friend. Dax is hanging out with me in the duvet. We've got Sophie. I don't know if you can actually see her just over there. Hello, Sophie. and we are hanging out, reading a little bit. I made myself some dinner and I am making myself some bread. I make bread every week, which is super twee, but it's really nice. It's really satisfying to make sandwiches and stuff with bread you've made. So it's something that I do every week. My dad has been making bread every weekend for years and years, so I've started doing it as well. And I've not given up on deep light, but I am going to switch to something else for a little bit because I think I'm just a little bit brain foggy, so reading something that's a little bit more complex and a little bit deeper is not necessarily working for me at the moment. So I'm 70, 80 pages into that, so I'll pick that up again probably later this week. But I did pick up something interesting. I spotted this at the library, and I don't know anything about it. It doesn't even have a description on the back, but it looked really interesting, and I am really enjoying it so far. This is Thornhill by Pam Smye. This is a book that it's reminding me a little bit of The Invention of Hugo Cabret by someone, I don't remember. But it's a book that's, I think, primarily told in kind of images. So there's text bits. So where I am right now is pretty standard, but it's told in diary entries. But also, let me mark my page and find something for you. It's also told in these full page images as well. So it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it so far. It seems like it's going to be a really spooky book. I don't really have a good handle on what's going on right now, but it looks like it takes place in a orphanage, probably in England. And it's following the diary entries of this girl in 1982, and then those images have a calendar in them that says 2017. So presumably these two storylines are going to come together. But I am really enjoying that so far. So I'm going to read for a bit longer and hang out with my pal while she's sitting on me. She usually sits with Scottish husband, but she's decided she likes me today. And then I'm going to get up, finish making my bread, probably just come right back and continue reading. I'm really having a good reading month. Last month, if you've seen my wrap up, I talk about having a lot of issues with anxiety and making some big changes in my life. But it does mean that I had a poor reading month. I have now read the same number of books in October as I did in September, and I think today's the 20th. So that's pretty impressive, I think. That's pretty good. So yeah, I'm in this mood to read, but I'm in a mood to read kind of specific things, really fast-paced things. So I've read a ton of YA crime books. I'm reading this book, which is flying by really quickly because of all the illustrations. I'm not in the mood to read kind of deeper things like Deep Light, and I do have Girls of Paper and Fire that I need to catch up on. So it's good. I'm churning through a lot of books, and I am really enjoying them for the most part. So it's been good. It's just a nice it's nice to reflect back on what I am reading now and kind of how things were going last month. So I feel like I'm back. This is really, really good. So as I say, after that quick tangent, I am going to get back to hanging out with Dax, reading my book. I'm gonna finish up the evening, and I will wrap up this vlog in a little bit. So it's time to wrap up this vlog. It's about 10:30 at night, and before I do wrap this up, I just want to tell you about the horror story that we just had. So I'm sitting here in my cozy reading chair, minding my own business. Ooh, sorry, shifting around. And I hear this sound, this horrible sound that sounds like Sophia, the cat, who makes horrible sounds. Sometimes she's an old lady, she makes terrible noises. So I heard this kind of roar sound, and she's standing right in front of me, but she's clearly not distressed or anything. And then I hear this yowling coming from under the chair, and it's Dax. Dax doesn't make a sound. I have stepped on her tail before, and she has not made a sound. The only time she ever meows or anything is when it's 5 a.m. and she wants someone to play with her, or Scottish husband is in the bathroom and the door is closed and she just absolutely can't handle that. So I'm freaking out because I'm convinced that something's wrong. Something must be horribly wrong. She must be in a lot of pain or something because she's never made this kind of sound before. So she's under my chair, and I poke my head under, and she's freaking out under there. So I like start screaming for Scottish husband to come through, completely convinced that like our child is dying. And we go and like lift up the chair, and like I'm like panicking, I'm almost crying, like freaking out, and she like just saunters out from underneath it like nothing's happened. And like we go and like I go and pick her up and like check her over and everything, and she's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And like she's fine. She was absolutely fine. I've never heard her make these sounds before, and it was horrifying. I genuinely thought that she had like broken a paw or something like that, some kind of cat injury or something. But so that's what has just happened to me, which I feel is just a great way to end the weekend. So to wrap up this vlog, it was perhaps not my most successful off the grid readathon, but that's because I was really busy running around doing all of the things. As I've said before, I don't like to vlog when I'm with my family because I'd rather spend time with my family. So when we were at my sister's place from Thursday night through yesterday, I didn't really vlog much. I think I have a couple of clips. I haven't started editing this yet. So I don't have a huge amount to kind of show you guys. Hopefully this vlog comes together well. But yeah, so I only finished 2 books this weekend, which actually, now that I'm thinking of it, is really great. So I started One of Us is Lying on Thursday. I started the audiobook and I finished this today. I enjoyed this. I don't know what I'm going to rate it yet because I finished it earlier today. And then I also started and finished Thornhill by Pam Smythe tonight. I really enjoyed this. It's a really interesting book. It's a really interesting way of putting it together. It's a combination of diary entries from a very lonely girl from 1982 who's living in Thornhill, which is a orphanage, and it also follows through pictures and images rather than words a girl in 2017 who lives next to Thornhill, which is like abandoned at this point. So it was a really good, interesting read. I really liked the format. I really liked the artwork. I really enjoyed the story. I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's definitely creepy. It's perfect for this time of year. So if you're looking for something to read around Halloween, even though it is a big, big book, it's like 500 pages. I read this really quick. And then I am also picking up the ABC Murders by Agatha Christie next. This is one of her Poirot books, and I love Poirot. He's great. I've never read any of the Miss Marple books, so if you have, let me know. But I really enjoy Agatha Christie. She's such a brilliant crime writer, and her books stand up to this day. I've read a fair few of them, and I just think that she's really great. So this is another library book like Thornhill is. I am going to try to get through my library books a little bit quicker than usual because I have a couple of other things that I'd really like to pick up. So I'm going to try to be good about library books, which I'm not always. And I am going to be bringing Girls of Paper and Fire, which is in the other room right now, with me to work and on the bus tomorrow. So hopefully I'm going to be able to catch up with that and carry on with this read along that the publisher is doing. And that should be good. So that's kind of my reading plans for this week. But it has been a really good weekend for reading, even though I obviously didn't read much yesterday because of GollanczFest. I didn't read much on Friday because of working from my sister's place and hanging out with her. But overall, I'm really pleased that I did end up getting those 2 books done. I need to pick a new audiobook for this week. I don't know what that will be because I'm finally like, I've run out of audiobooks, which never happens to me. So maybe I'll do the next Karen M. McManus book. Maybe I'll pick something else, but I will let you guys know in a future vlog. In the comments below, let me know what you have read this week. If you read any of these books, if they're in your TBR, just give me a shout. I would love to hear from you. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.